shirt too. His shirt.
Shelly's here.
Oh, Becker.
Happy 420, everybody.
Hey, girl.
Happy 420, everybody, indeed. Welcome to the Jazz Cabbage Cafe. It looks like we're streaming live on Facebook.
Already?
All right.
We're live already?
Slipped right into it.
Right.
I
got a little notice on my Zoom, so I'm sure
So we're
it's
gonna
true.
have a little intro.
I gotta do some stuff.
Supposed to have a little intro video, so I was wondering
Jim's
if that
not ready.
took
Wait.
place yet.
Oh,
that's
it's ready.
They're just rolling weed. They're fine.
This is prep. Hey, but if we're on with it, which it looks like we are, this is going to be our 420 show, special edition. It's, hopefully a little bit more celebratory and lighter than. I don't know what's going on.
What did Derek just
They can
do?
hear you.
Derek, you just messed us up, brother.
Derek,
Fix
you
it.
just messed up the whole thing, dude.
Yes, you did.
No. He's showing the video.
Yeah.
He's showing
Yeah,
the
just
video.
slide it down. All you got to
This
do
is
is
the
slide
funky
down to the
slop
next page.
dance, so.
Never
Let the
mind,
video-
Derek. I
Let the
fixed
video
it.
fly.
Oh, look at that.
Okay.
Hell
All
yeah.
right.
Hey,
Last one.
hey, look at
Hey.
that. That's have it true.
All right, now it's official. Now we just started.
The
Who the
sloth
hell is
dance
that monkey? I
started
never
us
saw that
off.
shit before.
Hey, so we're gonna have a celebratory show. It's gonna be fun. Hilarity will ensue at times, and that's what the show's about. We're actually gonna do our regular scheduled broadcast tomorrow, and we'll have Dr. Evan Latinas on there and possibly John Schickler, and we'll be serious and talk about depressing things tomorrow. But today we're having fun. Yeah.
I'm
And,
not
Planet-
pressing for the seriousness.
And so we have
yeah,
Planet.
this is-
We have Planet Green Trees on Thursday night and Medical Mondays later on tonight, which will be kind of it's a regular scheduled show, but it's also on 420. So they're definitely ready for a power pack show tonight. And we might be hearing from Berg pretty soon to let us know a little bit more about that before we get started. Now we have great guests today,
Yeah.
Senator Irwin. We have Darren McCarty. We have John Sinclair, and we have some other surprise guests coming in, sliding in virtually on the side. So it's just going to be a fun day. And but to get started with, we'll spin around the room with the Cabbage crew here. And if anybody has anything, a few seconds worth of any significance of 420 in your life, let's start talking about that. When you came upon it. Of course, some people grew up with it. It's been part of the culture of their whole lives. But many of us, kind of like appeared on the scene one day. That was my case. But if anybody has anything to say about any significance, and of course, it's okay that today is a day that a lot of people recognize as a holiday almost. It's not official. I haven't seen it on any mainstream calendars or anything like that. But a lot of people buy into today being a special day to do this. So we have with us today Jim Salame, who of course was at home for many years and is now with Decriminalized Nature and has been joining us for a while. What's going on, Jim?
You're on mute, Jim.
420.
Unmute your mic.
Happy
Start
to
it
be
off
here.
right.
It's a wonderful day. It's one of the most beautiful days outside, and I'm happy to be here with all of you guys and celebrating. 420 for me, gosh, I think it's been around ever since I can remember. But I've been celebrating. I know there's always been that question of where it all came from, where the 420,
We'll talk about that a little bit today.
Yeah,
I think,
but yeah, that'd be fun to go over that. But thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
You're welcome. Glad to have you. And of course, we have Shelly Smith with us again, who has her own pop-based show, Weeds and Reeds, or Reeds and Weeds, and and is with the Michigan Cannabis Industry Association. And for a long time, set up the comedy shows, the live comedy shows every month at the Home of Medicine, which were well received and packed every single time, and had great comedians there. Shelly, what's going on with you?
Well, last time I was driving, remember? And it was just like a conference call, totally safe, but I was in Cadillac. And I got to shoot a potato cannon for the first time. So that was very exciting. And B, gas was $1.13.
I don't know because I'm not out. How do you know that? How are you outside? How do you even know that?
Yeah, just
Shelly lives on the edge.
Yeah.
Shelly. Hey, Shelly, and then we should mention it again. I'd like to, whenever possible. Shelly's an essential worker. She's driving around in support of people who are working and handing them masks that were made and donated.
Yeah, it
To the
doesn't
MSC.
feel radical. It just feels
Mhm.
like living, you know. And
Well,
I'm
you're supporting
a lot of people.
the people that need to be out there working for us right now. And it's
Well,
a tough
and
time. So.
it's amazing. You know, like if you go somewhere 3 hours away, you really don't even need to encounter another person. You can get gas with a card. You can use your hand sanitizer. You can talk on the phone.
Yeah.
You know, and see
Oh,
one
good.
other person in the whole state. But not like
Sure.
at Costco. You know, it's just being alone in a car moving around. It's not particular.
It works.
Just being out and about.
Still much appreciated. Razor Ray Reyes is with us. Finally, he starts the show off with us, and sounds good, and looks good.
His
Ray, are you
mic's
there?
on mute right now.
Yeah,
He's not
everybody,
paying attention.
everybody
Hey,
will
I
fuck
just-
that up first.
I
There he is.
He has us at
Totally
bomb level.
unmuted.
Are you with us, Ray?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound great. I understand what that means.
Yeah, let's see if I can turn this mic down a little bit. Let's see how that
See,
sounds.
yeah, it doesn't sound that great, man. Keep on fucking around with that.
Put your
Better
headphones.
than-
Does he have headphones on?
Yeah, see if you can do something else, and we'll go to Colin MacDougall, who
What's
gets
up?
to just sit back and enjoy the show without having to actually do any work for a little while until we
I
get
know.
back in the studio.
That's what I was doing. That's why I enjoy
Also-
this. Enjoy
also with-
watching you stress out over the technical difficulties.
I'm trying to pawn some of that off onto Derek Gauci, who's been back with us, and while he's been inside and not being able to shoot, weddings as much, he's going to be able to dedicate a little bit more time to us too. And so, Colin also with Decriminalized Nature. And what do you think, Colin? What's going on?
I think I've been celebrating like 420 for about 10 years now. Since I was about 19, I think, is when I feel like I really started becoming a stoner. One of my memorable ones was like when I was 20, I got a Bob Marley Greatest Hits CD on 420. I still have it. And then I won this bong 2 years ago from a BDT on 420. There was like a balloon drop, and I got one of the tickets that was this. So those are some of my memorable ones.
That's cool. You're one of the people that basically grew up with 420 kind of being a part of the culture all the time.
Yeah.
Did you ever wonder where it came from, or did you ever look into that?
I heard something about the Grateful Dead and like a group that hung out with them who used to meet up at 420 in the afternoon in like Berkeley, California or something.
Yeah.
And
I think the true story is a variation on that theme. I think there are people who are going to like high school together, and they would meet up regularly to go burn and be like
Right,
420 when they made it to the location.
And then they just used 420 as like a term, and they started hanging out with the dead eventually, and then it kind of became a term. I don't know. I think the first time I thought about it though, was probably when I was 18 or 19. It was 42 degrees in Ann Arbor.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the first time I really was like, oh, it's like 420. So yeah.
Oh.
Well, that's cool. All right, so Debra.
Yeah, so for me, 420, I've been aware of 420 since the mid 70s, probably early 70s.
Really?
Yeah, there used to be a big place on Woodward called the Trading Post. It was like a big hippie flea market kind of thing down by the zoo. We used to go there, buy weed. This is when I was like 13, 14. And they sold all kinds of crap in there, patchouli oil, all kinds of, glow in the dark crap. I mean, it was really like an underground thing, kind of like Plum Street, but suburban. And they had like these vanity license plates in there that said 420 with cannabis leaves on them. And I had to be 13 or 14. That had to be very early 70s. So, but for me, I mean, I've been celebrating it since then. I've obviously been imbibing since I was about 13. And right now I'm in the middle of a 420 harvest. So that's always fun.
Nice.
So we'll remember this in about, a few months when the harvest is ready. We'll say that was the 420.
Very nice.
When it's perfectly cured. And Yeah, I mean, Shelly, the last time I was out of the house, gas was like 149, and I was like really shocked by that. I mean, that was like when we went up north, I was so shocked. So that was what, 5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So wow. Yeah, and I'm
it
still
gets
sitting.
cheaper as you go north. It gets cheaper as you go north.
Yeah,
for
dude.
sure.
So I'm sitting on a full tank of $1.49 gas, and I was beating my chest about that. A
Yeah.
$1.19. Wow.
Yeah.
There's a
Of course,
buck, there's a
there's no
buck
place to
19 in
go,
Detroit.
so
Woodward
someone's
and
probably
Salame.
somebody's probably gonna siphon it out of my gas out of the gas tank before I use it, because I'm not going anywhere, dudes.
I think
I
I
am
got
here
it
to
for
stay
like
for a while.
137 like 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
So
Derek Gauci.
Shit.
Hi.
Hi, Derek.
It's been, I feel like a revolutionary 10 years from 420s right now. This is just like a really special one. Happy
Yeah.
definitely to be part of this show with this crew, but I feel like it's just been great. I just watched a video that I made with my friends in 2010 about 420, and one of my really good friends, who unfortunately is no longer with us, was teaching us how to dab for the very first time 10 years ago. So I'm feeling revolution right now.
Ray is frozen. Ray, you're frozen if you can hear me.
Reyes
Be
got
great.
problems.
Be great.
He's got to hang up now, right?
There he is.
Oh no, there he goes.
There he
Good
is.
job. Yeah.
He's back. He's moving around. He's got the bong going.
Yeah.
I'd say that's
Maybe he was
probably
just
around the time that
posing.
I first saw dabs too, like 2010 is like the first time.
I
It was
can't
like
remember
the
the first time I saw
the
dabs.
globe like
Yep.
way.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well-
Nails.
I'll tell you what,
Emails.
I will drop some
I got
knowledge
the
on you
Puffco
guys.
now. So
What- Colin, that's the Puffco, right, Colin?
yeah, it's Puffco. It's like
Oh, wow. What is that?
it's like it's a small like electronic dab rig. And so
Oh, I thought it was one of those things that you stick up your nose to rinse it out. Like,
Oh, yeah.
That's what it
Mhm.
looks
Do
like.
that
Look at
too.
that. Yeah,
So
I get it now.
let's
Yeah,
have
it's-
Rick. Let's have
Go
Rick
ahead.
wrap this up. We're supposed to be hopefully be hearing from Senator Irwin here in a couple of minutes, and I'm going to have Rick get a chance to address this.
Well, we talked about 420. I think you guys are thinking far too contemporary. I mean, we've been using cannabis for thousands of years. So let's look for an earlier source of 420, like, our early childhood anthems. Remember, 4 and 20 blackbirds baked in a pie. Now follow me with this: 4 and 20 baked and food. Yeah. Those people were talking about cannabis, man. 420 dates way back longer than you guys are thinking. That's my
Nice.
opinion on this
Awesome.
subject.
Never heard
That's
Rick
a
that
great
has
Rich.
spoken.
Yeah, great.
theory.
We can end the show. That was great.
Oh, I don't know the rest of the song, but 4 and 20 blackbirds baked in a pie sounds a lot like a bunch of stones.
Now I really want to find like an appropriate Bible verse or something. Like I'm sure there's a good 420 Bible verse. There has to be.
Ezekiel 4:20, and you shall not burn your friend's clothing by your casual
work
use
on
of the
it.
joint
I'm gonna
stick. That was probably gonna earn me
Was
hell
she leaving to
forever
go
now.
find her Bible?
I
She
think
is.
so. Yeah.
Close by.
Oh my God.
Jamie, we have a guest coming up. Who's gonna come up soon?
We should. We're already off to a good start with missing out on Berg, but we'll certainly let people know that Medical Mondays is on tonight, and there'll be Facebook Live using Zoom also on the Medical Mondays page, and they got a great show lined up. In fact, a few of us are going to be on there. He's going to have Darren McCarty on there as well, and other people. And said he's going to go way past 11 if things are still moving. So we'll see what happens. But that's going to be cool. Maybe he will jump on here during the show at some point. But we should be hearing from Senator Irwin soon, hopefully. We'll also see how that goes.
You sent him the Zoom link, I take it.
I did, but let me look at this for a second. I'll work this out. Hold on a second.
Well, I will say this. In America, we are a nation of greatness, right? We have 420 4 times in America today, right? We have the Eastern time zone, we have the Central time zone, Mountain time zone, Pacific time zone, and then we also have the Hawaiian Aleutian time zone because we're that badass. So enjoy
We had the
joints
4:20
at
a.m.
420s all day. Oh shit, you messed me
We
up
had-
with that one, Deb.
We had 4:20 a.m. right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm looking forward. You're all talking backward. I'm looking
Yeah,
forward.
but I'm just saying. So we already did like a whole bunch of 420s.
Yeah,
We're
America.
pros.
We
Yeah.
really do 420 like nobody else.
That's right.
Fucking pro.
I saw Lauren.
So, it really is possible to buy anything online. I have learned that during this. Anything.
What?
Special,
Anything.
A Buddha mug.
specialty Buddha mug.
Buddha, booty. You can buy anything online, right?
Yep. Oh, I don't know if you can do that. I'm sure you can do
Drink
that.
and a smoke. Pardon me.
You would probably have to ask Ray. I don't know anything about that.
First of all, I wanted to say, Deb, your
Ooh.
background is slaps.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
It's a keeper.
I love that.
It's not the first time I've used it. It's a repeat, but it's a fan favorite.
Liquid
Jim's
is
cannabis
brand-
leaf ate him.
It's a brand now.
Yeah, it is. It is. That is my brand. And Rick's looks cool because his head is right in the center of his with the cannabis coming. No, stay in the center. That looks cooler in the center. Stop moving.
That weed coming out of his ears.
Yeah, coming out of his ears.
Yeah.
That's what it looks
More
like.
to the right.
Blow my mind. Cannabis style.
Yeah. Yeah. And Jim, I don't know. Jim's gone. He's just a big squishy leaf now.
He had the floaty.
I love
He's going to
that.
put on his bathing suit and pretend he's in a pool, I'm hoping. All right, Jim. Get us
Take
some
it
extra
easy.
views.
Take it easy over there. I'm just trying to get it
The
balanced.
clothes start coming off.
Not a
I'm
team
senator
player.
on here. I want to look good.
Not a team player. Okay. Know that about you now.
For some
All
reason,
right.
the shirt looks like jammies.
Yeah,
Like,
suit up. Oh,
you're in the
Well,
bar.
everyone-
and
the
you're in
cannabis
jammies,
leaves.
your little weed jammies.
Isn't everybody in their jammies from the waist down?
No.
I
What are you
am.
talking
I'm in my-
about?
I'm in my studio, so I have to walk back and forth from the house to my studio. So no, jammies would not be good.
I'm in the
Everything
jammies in the
really is
backyard
okay.
grilling
I got
dinner and
these
stuff
kind of
every night.
on today.
Yeah,
See,
there
murder.
they are. See?
You get it, Deb?
Anything can be
That's what I'm
jammy.
saying. I'll be out in the backyard. Someone's got jeans on. I haven't had a pair of jeans on
It's
in a
Rick.
month. Rick?
Put on
Oh
jeans.
my God.
Shaking
But you're
that
afraid
ass.
your neighbor's gonna see
Right
your
down.
pajama pants? Come on.
I am comfortable dressing properly. I don't need to
Oh,
dress down to feel
God.
good about me.
Listen, I got day wear and night wear. It's all the same. But during the day, I put on underwear. That's how you can tell
Crisis
the
wardrobe. Crisis
Yeah.
wardrobe. Yes. Minimize that shit. Simplify
right.
your life.
difference. Mhm.
Simplify it. Comfortable clothing, breathable, and
Exactly.
Hey, you guys
Are you-
ready?
For what?
Oh, hit us with this quote.
Looking through the
You found
Bible.
it.
I've been looking through the Bible, reading verses 4:20, right? And Mark 4:20 letter. Okay.
it's a
Are you ready to-
gospel too.
What I found so far. So there's a parable, and in the middle of the parable, it's about the seed sown on rocky places and how it won't grow. And the verse 20 is like seed sown on good soil, hear the word, accept it, and produce a crop 30, 60, or even 100 times what was sown. So it's about sowing crops.
Nice.
Welcome.
420.
That works. Yeah.
Nice.
I can
See?
do
I'll find another one. I'll find another one.
Right likes that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, raise into that. Not.
Is that
Shelly and
something-
Rick going old school to find an explanation for 420. Woo!
Yeah. I'm into this game.
hmm Now, I've heard Lenny Sinclair tell a story about 420, which surfaces around the FBI surveillance of a particular home in Ann Arbor during the
I thought it was a
actions that
cool-
led up to John. Could be the action that led up to John Sinclair's arrest. So if I don't know if John recalls that or not, but Lenny tells it very well.
Well, we'll ask him when he comes on.
Mhm.
I'm sure he'll be happy to tell us.
Yep.
Okay, one more. Acts 4:20. For we cannot help speaking about what we have seen and heard. It's about going out and preaching the truth. That's also a good one for our mission here.
Speaking of
Mhm.
preaching the truth, Jim wins the biggest joint of the day contest, man. That was awesome, sir.
Let's see, Jim. Let me see. Oh,
Look at that.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that looks real. Oh, it smokes and everything. I like it. Like talcum powder out his mouth.
That was awesome. You have the best inflatable toys. I wonder why that
Yeah,
is.
what's going on there? What else you got? Let's
Come on
see all
over,
the
Deb.
valves on that stuff.
Come on over.
That's fantastic. Oh my
Love
God.
it. I love it.
So great. Jim wins. Jim, that is your award right there. Right there.
Yeah.
Best backdrop for the day.
Biggest doobie.
Biggest doobie of all time.
Doobie, best backdrop.
Good.
Because it's physical, because it's real. It's
So-
not projected.
What is everybody's preference of 420 cannabis consumption today? Start with C Murder here.
I was going with the bong most of the day. I just cleaned it out, and it's uses the least amount of weed and gets me the most high.
All right. Hey, so we've been able to connect
That's a shut up, Colin.
with our next guest. Yeah, enough banter because now we can get into some real stuff. We have Senator Jeff Irwin here celebrating with us. We'll get back to that, Colin. That was exciting. That's a little mini cliffhanger we'll have within the show. Let's talk to Senator Irwin for right now because we're glad to have him on here celebrating with us today. How you doing, Senator Irwin?
I'm doing well. How are all of you doing?
There he is.
We're doing great.
Very good.
Hi, Jeff.
Today.
Hey, Jeff.
Hello, everyone.
Good to see you, Senator.
Good to
So
see you.
does 420 have any particular? You recognize what 420 is about, and you're very aware of what's going on and all that kind of stuff, and the culture and the changing of things. And in Michigan, you've been a big part of it, and all that kind of stuff. But does it have any kind of significance or for you at all?
Well, I don't know how how honest I should be in this particular regard. So I was, audible to my typical approach to say that it has very little significance to me. When I first heard about it, I thought, oh, this is kind of silly. And then when I heard about the whole kind of history of how I think it started, or at least what I've heard is the sort of, to me, seems to be the most credible history of how it started in California with some high school kids. I thought, oh, that was probably pretty cool for them when they started it. I just don't understand how it became a national thing. So yeah, I mean, but if it's used as an excuse for people to get together and enjoy some fellowship, then that's cool, right? So I like that aspect of it.
Yeah, it seems to be an accepted holiday, at least to many people in the cannabis culture, legitimately, and a lot of people participate every year. We're doing this now because of it. So
yeah, I think that's cool. And I don't want to be a party pooper, but if you ask me the question, I just
wondered some
reaction. I have to be like, where did this even come from? And like,
right,
well, why not some different day? I don't know. It's
every day, really, Jeff.
What's that? It's
every day.
Yeah. Every day is 420.
Every day.
Just kind of caught on.
You're just looking for a reason.
It's like this underworld kind of scenario, and it seems like a code almost. And, I think a lot of people picked up on it to feel as though they're connected kind of secretly with this underground culture a little bit.
Part of culture. It's one of those things that attracts us back to the completely illegal days. Now that we're in the completely legal days, some of those cultural references will still remain. It's kind of fun for those of us.
Yeah, but I never thought that I would sort of like cherish any sort of aspect of my own experience, which labels me as an old timer. But, as somebody who was interested long before any of it came along, I sort of have kind of a get off my lawn kind of aspect about it. But this was a tie, actually, that was given to me. This is the 420 support House Bill 4623, which was the first piece of legislation that I introduced to decriminalize cannabis back about 8 years ago, something like that. And so I thought that was a cool little memento that references the 420 here for our.
It is.
That's awesome.
Who gave it to you?
Put it on.
That should go in the Cannabis Museum. The BDT Cannabis Museum. That would be a great piece for them.
Yeah.
Maybe it belongs there. It was actually given to me by a lobbyist, by a labor lobbyist actually, who I don't know.
Wow.
To talk about him giving me that, but it was somebody from the labor community who was interested in it, and hopefully as time goes on, we can get more and more folks from the labor community interested in the workers' rights angle to this because as we talk about all the successes we've had over recent years with changing the laws, one of the things that is continuing fight is, how do we change the culture, particularly when it comes to workplaces and drug testing in the workplace, and the decisions that employers are making either during employment or prior to employment.
Nice. So what can we look as far as when the legislature can get back up and running again? What types of things are hanging around that we might like, that might be positive on the horizon for legislation that's been introduced and or has a chance of being debated?
Box right there.
Yeah, nice to see that that Adam's joined us. Hey, Adam. What's hot on this right now? I mean, I think that the hopeful piece that I think everyone should be most focused on is the question of expungement and set aside of records. I used my limited window on the virtual hash bash to talk about clearing people's records, clearing people's criminal records. And that would be the number one thing I would focus people on right now, which is that there is legislation in Lansing that, I've introduced a bill, Senate Bill 416. I didn't quite get Senate Bill 420, but it was close. And, I think that would provide more sweeping relief to people who are caught up on the war on cannabis. But there is another bill that was introduced in the House Bill 4982, introduced by Representative Mearman. And that bill provides relief to individuals who have a record for possession and or use, but not for manufacture or delivery. And that bill passed the House already with a very large majority. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what it was looking it up, but it was a large, sizable majority that bill passed the House with. And that was late last fall when that happened. The bill came over to the Senate. It was assigned to the Senate Judiciary Committee, which I'm a member. There was some hope that we would have hearings on that in maybe January or February. Ultimately, the chairman of the committee, Senator Peter Lucido, said that he wanted to wait a little while because there were some issues and details that people were negotiating behind the scenes and wanted to get it right before bringing it before the committee. That's kind of where it stands right now. All of us who were encouraging the chairman to bring the bill forward were told that it was going to come forward in early March, something like that, as soon as some of these details were worked out. And then, of course, the current apocalypse struck, and that has that has completely taken out all legislative committee work. My expectation is that as soon as we get back to committee work in Lansing, which really should have started last week over Zoom, but could be happening in the next couple of weeks for sure. My expectation is that we will get back to work on those bills. I'll try not to prattle on too long, but just to get into a little bit of the detail, Mearman's bill does, as I said, is it provides pretty good relief for the roughly 235,000 people in the state of Michigan who still harbor a criminal record for possession or use. But it doesn't do anything for the roughly 25,000 people who have a criminal record for manufacture or possession with intent to deliver. None of these bills do anything to touch conspiracy or maintaining a drug house or some of the other crimes that were sometimes associated with cannabis busts. But that's the state of play right now. And if I were to encourage people to do one thing, it would be to communicate with their legislators, particularly your state senators, and encourage them to expand this bill to include everything that is now legal under Proposal 1. Because even when they passed House Bill 4982 out of the House, and even when the representatives and senators who voted for it passed it without including delivery or manufacture, what they were saying is we're supporting this bill because we want to make everything that is now legal set aside. The people who engage in activity that's now legal, if they did it in the past and they have a criminal record for that, that should be set aside. Well, if that's really what they intended, they should have manufactured and delivered, because right now there are people delivering and manufacturing all over this state in warehouses and storefronts, and that was legalized by Proposal 1. So that should be included in House Bill 4982 or Senate Bill 416 or whatever ends up going forward out of this process. So that's kind of the key pivot point right now, is whether or not we include those additional charges. There are some other details about exactly what process people have to go through. Is it automatic or somewhat automatic? Those are important concerns as well. But to me, the big issue that we need to be successful with if we want to have a complete victory with this expungement bill is to include some allowance for people with manufacture and delivery to get in front of the courts and have their record set aside.
Right on. We've talked about that here before too. I mean, just basically in a nutshell, the new law, the MRTMA, allows people to grow cannabis, to harvest it, to have, dried flower and products, to gift it to people. And what Jeff is saying is that although it says it's going to allow for what's legal now, it stops short of allowing possessing it and transferring it to people. And so it doesn't really allow for everything that's legal now.
It doesn't. And I think, one of the things I've noticed in talking to some of my Republican colleagues who are some of the more difficult members to move on, relaxing punishment for cannabis crimes, they want to believe that what they're doing is setting aside those crimes that are now legal activity. And so that's why I think it's so important that we make the argument in that way, to say that, look, we passed Proposal 1. We said this is all now legal. Let's go back and provide relief to all the folks who, have done something in the past that's now legal. Now, if they push back and say, well, it wasn't legal before to sell without a license, and so these people were selling without a license, and that's what makes it different. My urging to you is to communicate with these lawmakers and say, well, then let's not make it automatic. Let's at least give these folks an opportunity, though. Let's at least give them an open door where they can go to their court and they can say, here's the situation, right? Because what I hear in terms of pushback from prosecutors, but also from conservative colleagues, is that, well, how do we tell the difference between a 17-year-old who was caught up in a controlled buy, for selling a little bag to their high school friend? How do we separate that person from the person who was, running a criminal enterprise or engaging in a much larger sort of scale business operation? Well, let's let the courts do that then. Let's at least, once again, give these people an opportunity to make their case, give them an opportunity to go in front of their court and show why it's in the public interest to set aside their record. And I think that a lot of courts will end up doing that for people because feelings about public attitudes about cannabis are changing and have changed a lot in the last 10 years.
I agree. So, Jeff, just to take the opportunity, how much we appreciate your representation for our issue in the mix of your very important decision-making capacity. It's been, very helpful and very much appreciated for a long time. Of course, you were instrumental in getting the MRTMA to pass in the first place and working very heavily on that and stuff. So I appreciate that. Is there anything you'd like to leave us with before we move on with the legendary John Sinclair and Mr. Hashbash?
Well, I'll probably stick on and listen to a little bit of that for a few minutes before I head out. But I will leave you with a couple of things. One, I will just also thank you personally, Jamie, but also everybody else on this call. I see the faces of a lot of folks who are also instrumental in passing legalization here in Michigan, and instrumental in continuing to keep the fires lit on this movement for many, many years. And so I just want to thank everybody who's on the call for that. And I just want to encourage everybody to remember that during this crisis that we're all facing, just like any other tough situation, it's the people who are on the bottom of the pile who get squeezed the most. And so, think about that, reach out, help friends, if you can, if you have the capacity to help people out, please do so, because there's a lot of folks who are struggling. And as always, it's the people who are, already the poorest and the weakest, or who are infirmed already, who are the ones who get hurt the most.
Well said.
Yeah. Thank you very much, man. And very much appreciate it.
Thanks for making yourself available for us and all the broadcasts that we do and all the communication too, Senator Irwin. We really appreciate your time. I know it's valuable.
You're the best.
Well, hey, I appreciate yours too. You guys put out a lot of good stuff. Just to directly talk about you, Rick, a little bit. I saw you put out this whole list of all the speeches from the Hash Bash this year. You've done a lot of good media work over the years. So I see a lot of faces around here in the Zoom call of folks who've done contributed in all sorts of different ways. So let's keep it up. Let's keep working together, and let's make sure that, once again, as I keep hammering home, build relationships with your legislators. Get close enough to them so that they can hear you.
Hey, Jeff, is that the Mackinac Strait behind you?
Yes, this here is a poster of the Straits of Mackinac, And right there is where the bridge is. And then this red line here is line 5. Yep. And,
That's cool.
and I've also got, I've got a Bernie Sanders placard and a Clinton placard. And I'm sorry, I've heard this joke before, but I like to keep them close because it creates free energy between them.
Well, thanks again for your appearance. I think we should jump to our special guest of honor, Jamie.
Hey, it's a pleasure to have you guys here. I know you guys are also fans of Senator Irwin, as he is of yours. Oh,
yeah, no, you're doing great. We're talking about John Sinclair and Adam Brook, who are going to join us right now.
Okay, sure.
420, gentlemen.
There he is.
There's John.
Okay.
Hi, John.
Yes, none of these guys need a great introduction, man. What's going on, you
Good to
guys?
see you, Deb.
Outstanding, John. You too, Adam.
Thanks.
Nice.
Adam was broadcasting at midnight last night in his underwear. We could see his bare legs, but he was broadcasting at the peak of 420 in the Eastern Time Zone. That's hardcore.
I was
Adam's been broadcasting.
I posted
24 hours.
at 4:20 a.m. Eastern time also.
See, Adam was there. I told you, Rick. Adam was
Hey,
there.
I
4:20
finally
a.m.
decided to embrace
Right.
this 420 nonsense. Okay, I'm down now.
It's been a good year to do it.
Hey,
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, of course. You know, obviously this is the day that many people just recognize. It's just turned out to be a day where people are willing to come together and recognize it as some kind of a cannabis-based holiday, and people have fun with it no matter what. But some people, it's got some more or less significance.
it's also an important hex against the birthday of Adolf Hitler.
What?
Oh.
There's more to the history that we did not know that we need to hear about.
Oh, this sounds very dark.
Massive hex against that motherfucker.
Whoa.
Jamie,
Big smile. Big smile.
I was thinking about the 420 thing, and I realized that this is a social revolution holiday. Thank you. It's a generational holiday, but truly it's a civil rights holiday. And that's why I've decided to embrace it, because this is what's made weed like normal everywhere. I can tell you, so we all know the story and the history of 420, that it basically was created in the late 70s, but it wasn't until 20 years later that it entered into the mainstream. And at that point, I was running a head shop, and these stickers started showing up in our catalogs, and it was like 420. Who gives a shit about this? This is stupid. Why would you put a scarlet letter on yourself and walk around and say that, you know, you're one of those people? Well, 20 years later, all of a sudden, technical difficulty. Hey, legend phone ring. In the middle of a television interview.
This is live radio, Adam. You know.
Hey, if you had to call anybody on 420, John Sinclair would be the person you'd call, right?
All I can tell you is this: anytime I'm live and my phone rings and it says John Sinclair,
you answer.
I'll know that I take that call.
That's right.
That's right.
Right? Most of the time we do it in the ear, but every once in a while we tell him we're on live and he participates. We appreciate it. But seriously, this 420 thing, and I hate to use this word because it's a bastardization of the term, but it's the normalization of weed.
Oh, right.
It's the normalization of marijuana.
That's the ultimate goal.
The introduction of cannabis to some of these people, because don't forget, a lot of people don't know what you're talking about when you talk about cannabis. So this 420 thing is a modern concept, and it's brilliant. I mean, every news station is doing something about 420 today.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's, some people like have just grown up with this, been part of their experience as pot culture since they've been in it.
Yep.
Don't forget, there are people that are voting to legalize weed in states where their weed has been legal medicinally their whole lives.
True. Yeah.
That's new. That's a whole new concept. We only need the death of one generation, and we've gotten rid of those old fogies that didn't want weed.
Wait a minute. Maybe we're not ready to die yet, Adam.
We're not.
All of them are like
Staying aside for no reason.
Hope he's on the right side. Right. Some of us aren't that old. And some of us are.
Some of us are, that's right.
And that's one of the cool things about being in Michigan and being part of the weed culture is that without guys like John Sinclair, we wouldn't be anywhere near where we're at today.
Correct.
True.
You know, he's one of the guys that put the word marijuana in the lexicon of America. It took a Supreme Court case for everybody to learn about this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's huge. And if you look at what's popular right now, the social equity thing, you may have read about Ben and Jerry's today, all bent out of shape about social equity and the fact that people of color are still being arrested for marijuana and things like that. I mean, that's a real issue in today's culture, which if you ask someone like John Sinclair, I believe he would tell you that's shocking that this country is embracing race and people of color like that. I mean, to some people, they don't realize how bad things were at one point.
Yeah.
So, you know, weed isn't legal. Weed is tolerated. They'll still hem you up in this country. If not for weed, for something else, if they want you. We all know that.
Yep.
But,
Brown skin.
You know, it's right. Speaking of brown skin, who put Reyes on the screen? The director's a bigot.
Nice.
That was beautiful.
Incredible.
Timing is everything. But hey, one of the things I wrote down that I wanted to say is I hope similar to Hash Bash that the concept of 420 being a national weed day goes to change public attitudes as people think it's a cool thing to celebrate and smoke weed in public. That's what I'm about.
It's a good thing.
And John thinks it's a good thing, so I did my job.
Yeah.
I agree.
Right on.
We talk about this all the time. The pathway to full legalization is a stairway, and we're climbing the stairs. Obviously, we're not at the top of the staircase yet. And I know John doesn't like incrementalism, and I appreciate that. He thinks we deserve it right now, and he's absolutely right. We do. But we have to wrest control away from people who do not wish to give it willingly. So we have to take our freedom by degrees.
Doing efforts and Jamie and Debra to make this shit happen. Yeah, I think it should all
Right on.
be done overnight.
That's right.
It's over, you know, but it's not going to happen like that.
We've
That's
moved
right.
significantly forward, I feel, at least.
Oh,
You know, at least I sit on my porch and smoke weed all day, every day. So I'm not, you know, and I'm comfortable with it. And like, I agree. The goal is normalization. I agree totally with Adam. And this is what, when I got involved, this is what Tim had talked to me about too. He said, that's the goal, normalization. Normal people.
Yeah. Like you're just having a lemonade.
Normalism.
What are the concerns about normalizing cannabis?
Organization, you know, that claimed the name from the concept.
Well, fuck them.
Yeah, thank you very much. For about 40 years.
I worry when we normalize cannabis, we lose the thought of cannabis as a sacrament. Which,
Right. I'm afraid of that.
Yes.
Bad idea.
Amen.
Need all the sacramental help we can get in this
Mhm.
world.
Amen to that.
And that was one of the things about 420 that was
Ray,
so
what's going
important.
on, baby?
Is
Love you.
Hager was into the sacrament of 420 and the concept. And that at the time was sorely needed in our culture because we were losing those type of things. And weed culture was becoming something that many of us don't care for. I mean, many people
Money grubbing. Let's put it in two words.
There you go.
Money grubbing.
Yep, that's it.
Loss of spiritual qualities.
So Dr. Whitty talked about the sacrament and the spirituality and things like that when he was on our digital hash bash.
Yeah, I
And
love the speech.
yeah.
I'm very sorry that we didn't get you on, John.
I did my best. I was standing by for hours.
I saw you for a hot minute, just a flash, and then you were gone.
He was in the waiting room.
He was in the wrong, yeah.
Weird.
There was some confusion. You know, there's a little technology. You got to learn new shit when you're locked down. You know,
Right.
it's a learning curve. I think we finally made it.
That was a rough day, but we captured a lot of great stuff.
I was willing to learn, but no one would show me how.
Is there anything you,
Sorry,
is there
go ahead.
anything you would have said at Hash Bash on the broadcast that you'd like to say now? Any sentiment that you wanted to express then?
I heard Mike Whitty's speech, and I thought his speech was what I would have liked to have said. I wouldn't have been quite so verbose, but the main points would be the points that I would like to, the spiritualism and the sharing with others and the life of the marijuana smoker, marijuana smoker, you know, important parts to me for the last 60 years.
Sure.
I like to point out that one of the cool things I've learned about weed is that it brings people together that wouldn't talk to each other, wouldn't have anything to do with each other, certainly would never smoke a cigarette with each other. But if it's weed, I mean, I know people that truly don't like that type of person, that they're bigoted, they're haters, whatever. But when it comes time to smoke a joint, everything's cool.
Yeah,
It covers a pretty big spectrum, yeah.
Is it going to change any in this times? I mean, is it going to change the way that we share, the way that we gather, the way that we?
It's up to us. That's up to us. We have to carry these things forward and turn other people on to them.
If we
turned on.
If we get these social use lounges, John, where people can congregate and use together in social settings, that's really the goal, right? That would help continue our culture.
That's the key.
But understand that the version that the state has offered us under licensing
is unacceptable.
Doesn't work. It's not fiscally responsible to open a business where you're not able to make money because you can't sell food or you can't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That seems dumb. Why would you not be able to sell food?
It's all got to be overthrown.
Stupid.
You know, I don't know how many of you have hung out in bars in Detroit, but I've been smoking joints in bars in Detroit since I was 17 years old.
Ferndale also, and there's one in Wayne.
And nobody's ever said anything anywhere, and that's just the way it was.
Yeah.
New York, the same way. And we need to get back to that. We need to get to the point where you can smoke a joint anywhere you can smoke a cigarette.
They will just have people breaking the law to be like blind pig. People will be serving food anyway, I feel, and and just break the law.
Well, right, but those
just break the law. Now you're talking.
Those won't be licensed establishments, and that's my point. Is that the underground establishment is going to rule.
Yeah. See.
Amen.
Well, and that's one of the things when you give business privilege, then you increase a black market presence. When you give citizens privilege, you eliminate black market presence. So if you give all the advantage back to the people who made this industry what it is, and right size some of the laws that overly favor cannabis industry, then our people have a much better chance at it. So
much better.
But we have what we have, and we're working with what we're working with.
Get better all the time.
Well, yeah, the ball keeps moving forward.
We know what we want.
Yep.
And
we know what we want in the end. We want for everybody to get high who wants to, whatever they want to.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate.
Amen.
Yep. Yep.
There's no confusion on that point. It's very clear cut. We want people to be able to get high whenever they want to, wherever they want to.
Exactly. With whatever they want.
Earlier in the broadcast, John, Jamie was asking everyone about a 420 memory. I bet you've got a 420 memory to share with us, don't you?
Oh, I don't know. I just accepted it. I thought it was a good thing that these kids made this up. I like everything that comes from within our culture, you know.
Yeah.
They named 420 at the time they got together after school and had a joint. I thought that was brilliant. So I just subscribed to that right away. So I've got a million 420 memories. I think 420 is a really warm idea. And everybody can relate to it. Oh, 420, yes, I never joined. That fits in with my outlook pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, again, later.
Go ahead, Jamie, please.
Later, if everything works out, we'll have Darrell Stavros on here.
Oh, my man.
And there was a 420, I don't even know how many years ago now, 10 maybe, in which there was a little production downtown, which you participated, and You were performing, and at one, yep, and at one point, you handed Darrell the very first cannabis that he ever smoked
Oh,
on
wow.
stage.
Good
Wow.
grief.
That's
We'll have to bring that
crazy.
up with him.
He's come a long way, baby.
And took his virginity. Wow.
Wow, he busted his scary.
Now we ended up with Melissa. Who would have thought?
So we'll see how that goes. But he is at, if I'm not mistaken, he's at Oz today.
Yeah, they just texted out this really cool like live stream concert thing that they're doing later.
Okay.
Weed maps.
Yeah.
I put out a
Formerly
video
Third
earlier this week that talked about some of the different other broadcasts going on today too. We talked about Bergen Roach at 9 o'clock. Snoop Dogg's got a thing going on the Mary Jane's Instagram. There's all kinds of musical things happening today. Derek, you were mentioning one.
ArcView is doing like a 420 all day party too. I think between 1 and 6. So
Everybody, it's 4:20 Atlantic time right now.
Oh,
Yay!
420 somewhere.
Atlantic time.
Atlantic time.
sweet.
That's east of Eastern time.
East of
Love
Eastern.
it. That's great.
That's the name of my band, East of Eastern time.
Shelly, how could people find out more about that event at ArcView you just talked about?
Well, Troy just posted it on his Facebook page. So, do you know Troy Dayton? He just posted it on his Facebook page. So that's how I saw it. ArcView, maybe, arcview.com, ArcView Facebook page. So, or if you know Troy,
Awesome.
on Troy's Facebook page.
John
So,
Sinclair, what are your plans for the rest of 420 day?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask that.
John's going to be on the 420 Icons show being hosted
Oh, hell yeah.
at the World of Cannabis Museum.
Oh,
So we'll be hitting them up when we're done with you guys.
Is that Cannabis Museum in Amsterdam? Is that,
It's where they're headquartered, but they plan on opening up in San Francisco. They're looking for a location to open.
okay. Very cool.
how do we
man.
listen to that? Where do we listen to that at?
Facebook. If you hit up World of Cannabis Museum, you'll find they have the 420 Icons show listed.
Nice.
What time's John gonna be on?
Around 4 o'clock Eastern time is what I was told.
Okay.
So not too much longer.
Not too
From,
much longer.
Not too much longer from now. So
Just
talk to you guys here.
Hi and enjoying what's going on. That's me.
We'll talk to you guys for a few more minutes, and then you can have a little time to get ready to go over to that show, and we should be hearing from a couple other people in between.
Hey,
Jeff.
The other today.
Yeah.
This is fun. Happy 420, y'all.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Happy 420
Yeah.
to you too, hero.
Yeah. Senator Irwin just officially signed off. It was great to have him on to celebrate with you guys. Kind of
Nice.
special to have everybody here together at the same time. No matter what, this day is the cause for this. This is just a special edition of our show to be able to celebrate with people like yourself, and this is perfect.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Folks love it. Folks love this stuff. You know, technology is great. Facebook's a wonderful platform, and this one video can be re-seen, you know, for years or decades to come. It'll be up on.
Thank God.
The hashtags.
Oh my God, John. Yeah, go ahead.
3 or 4 different things.
Lucky us.
Where they said you could watch the whole thing, but I still have never seen the motherfucker.
What, Hash Bash?
The Hash Bash broadcast?
I can send you the link, man.
Yeah.
There's a link of the whole thing, or Rick has broken it down into a lot of different
20
segments.
different links.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, because I took the
Watch
one
it in
big
pieces.
7-hour broadcast and I took only the important pieces and then separated them out into separate videos. So one video for Mike Whitty's interview, one video for Adam's interview.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just wanted to see it. I tried so hard on the day of the show I couldn't see the mother.
You are really making Jamie feel bad. I love this.
Hey, so this is Skype. That was Skype, and plus it was new to a lot of us too. But now we're doing it a little bit, and this is Zoom, and this is easier, man.
This platform
I've
is
been
way
using Zoom
easier.
for years.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, this is awesome. The visual is good. The sound is good. Everything is.
Even if you got to pay for it.
No, I'm not paying for it.
I do. I pay a little bit for it. But
Yeah, Zoom's paid for it. This is a paid for account. But my point is,
yeah,
I was just, that was a dig at someone that sent an email out. I was hoping Rick would smile after I said that.
Oh, didn't he smile?
okay.
I
There you
didn't
go.
see.
Thanks, Rick. I appreciate it. But yeah, Zoom is great. It's a great platform, and it just takes a little bit getting used to. But once you get used to it, it's great to work with.
It's really easy.
so far so good. This is our third time doing it, and 420 happens to roll in during this, so it turns out to be a good time. We're going to do our regular show tomorrow too, which will be, as I said, a lot more serious.
421. 421. 421.
421.
That's a Mexican 420. A lot of Mexicans are going to be celebrating 420 Juan tomorrow. It's great. We can just keep this shit.
That was damn good, Ray.
You sound a lot better, Ray, by the way.
Thanks.
Good.
Thank you. Been working on it, bro.
Ray,
Working on it.
that's not the proper way to wear a face mask, though, Ray. I just got to tell you, it's supposed to go a little lower.
You guys know I was putting more Bible verses in the chat room this whole time.
I was reading them.
I saw you post them.
Some of them don't make much sense when it
No,
comes
it's
to
not
real
about
ones.
that. I'm just doing the research now. I'm just doing the research.
She's just obsessed now. She's not going to quit.
It doesn't have to. It's not even looking for clues anymore.
Really?
You should write a book.
Give them my Facebook account and tell them to hit me up. I love guys. The trolls of the universe.
Trolls of the universe.
Well, it is a divisive time in our community right now. COVID itself has created a lot of divides between people. But remember, before COVID, we were really at each other's throats, Republican, Democrat, over the whole political thing too. America's a really divided place. Cannabis is the great uniter, right?
Yes.
However,
Rick, you have to understand this new way of life right now. We've learned more about people than we ever did as Republicans or Democrats.
Oh yeah. Amen.
I mean,
New
now you
personalities.
I'm tucked up in
right,
here.
you got people that are coming out from like stuff you never thought they were into or thought of.
It's true.
I've met more people that are flat earthers since this virus.
Darren's here.
Hey, so do you guys
no, he's gone now.
have any, well, he's still hanging out. Have any
There
words
he
of
is.
wisdom to leave with us? Plus, we were just joined by Darren McCarty. Anything to impart to Darren McCarty as we transition into seeing what's going on with him on 420? Hey, Darren, we're here with John Sinclair and Adam Brook and the rest of the Cabbage crew right now. So we're just kind of like hearing.
You have the ode.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you have the ode. I was just gonna say for everybody out there, it's an honor to be on with all of you. I think that just to commemorate the date, congratulations on pulling off the 420 or the hash bash, because you're all integral apart, whether it's virtual or whether it's live. So
yeah,
it's great to be on with the people that only know that it was like these two. Hey John, hey Adam.
Hey, how you doing?
Good to see you. But
Sinclair says you're looking old, by the way.
That's good.
Quarantine beard. Nice.
It's coming in gray. Yep.
Yeah, one of the few guys that can say that to Darren and not get punched. So yeah.
Right.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
You don't look as tough with your teeth in, though, Darren.
I know. I'm inviting somebody to try to knock him out, but nobody really can get close.
Beard keeps them away. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Saying that by the time they get close enough, common sense usually sets in. You know, because,
exactly.
Because like that's to me what anybody out there, what cannabis has given me. It's given me, Darren McCarty, the human being, the person, I never a journey into myself to not only know that there's so many great things, not only medicinally, but without weed at this COVID-19, I mean, I think that it'd be so hard for a guy like me to get through here sober, and that's just another asset of the plant. So celebrating its birthday or 420 today, that's what it means to me, is saying, hey, thank you for resilience and patience. Because of that, that's the way I live my life through the plant. So happy birthday. I'm working on, hey, Deb, Aaron and I are only halfway through the jar. We're working on it though.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. What did you think? It's nice, huh? I'd have thought you'd have finished it by now. Me and Jamie could have finished that by now, right,
Sure.
Jamie?
Oh yeah. Hey, so John, I don't know if you caught on the Hash Bash broadcast, but Darren mentioned that he was born on the first day of the very first Hash Bash.
Yeah, he was born April 1st, 72. April Fool.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, really? You were
Yeah.
born on Hash Bash?
Yep.
So
He's connected.
Crazy.
Wow.
one of the cool things
Yeah.
is we invite Darren McCarty to Hash Bash, and I'm standing on the steps with him. I'm about to introduce him, and he's like, "Hey, you want to hear something really cool?" Like, what? He's like, "It's my birthday on the first. I was born on the first day on Hash Bash." I'm like, "Really? Like, you got this great connection, man.
Yeah.
This is meant to be." So,
Well, and
it's an honor to have you, bro.
yeah, and I'm honored to be, and that's what I want people, because this, we're dealing with the plant. It's Mother Earth, it's nature, whatever we believe, but there is a connection to it. And I carry that with as much pride as I carry my Stanley Cups, even more so. Because why? Because my story is going to help save people's lives, but it gives it more credibility. I didn't create it. It was the powers that be, right? So just tell it the way it is. We go by facts here.
Okay. So wait,
Right
I got to
on.
tell my own
You're
date
here.
story, why I'm tied to you, Darren, because my birthday is your sober day. My birthday is 11/11. So that's my
There it is.
connection to you. Yep, that's
See,
my
it's
birthday.
like it's live,
Yeah.
but it gives it more credibility. I didn't.
Yep.
It was. Yep.
Looks like we have Berg on now too.
Berg's here.
Berg.
So wait, I got to tell my own date story, why I'm tied to you, Darren, because my birthday is your sober day. My birthday is 11/11.
Nice. Hey, we'll get to
That's
Berg.
Somebody's playing their video or their Facebook.
Yeah,
Turn
Facebook
it
Live.
off.
Try to mute it if you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to Berg in a minute. And I'm glad he's on finally. I miscommunicated a little bit. That was supposed to be a little bit earlier, but that's cool. That works out.
So Darren, you got the Slapstick Comedy Tour. You've got a new show on 760 AM WJR. Tell us a little bit about what you've got going on, man.
Hey, we'll get to Berg.
Yeah, it's
Hey, so who's ever playing the Facebook Live can mute it. That would be cool because it's kind of going over the top of everything. Go on, man. Sorry.
Sort of. No, that's the beauty of where we've all come, and get it back to John and Adam and everybody, to the beginning, to the first Hash Bash, to where we are now. And where it is now is we said that, but I also, not only with Grind Time with Darren McCarty, which is a podcast I do through NRM that I've been doing for a couple of years now, and starting to get the flow, but also to the Slapstick Comedy, but now the way of the world. I tell everybody, just like I said my birthday, well, weed's legal, gambling's legal, and I have a show from 7 to 8 o'clock, the Darren McCarty Show, on WJR 760 AM, which to me, growing up, being Michigan's favorite stepson, because I grew up in Leamington, just across the border, that was the station that taught me of who drives the car controls the radio. So I hated WJR, and it's as it's supposed to be, but it's a stand. What I'm trying to say is, in 2020, it's always been a standard. And for me to be able to have Jamie on pre the virtual Hash Bash to talk about it, for me to be able, for them to say, hey, we want all of Darren McCarty, as it gets back to what this plant has enabled me to be as the person. So to cover everything else, not right or wrong, but be able to share my truth. and how we got here. And you guys are a big part of that truth. And it's just the way it is. You mentioned Berg. I'll be on his show later on, but you know, like there's different layers to this process, and we all have to just find what our role is and what we like to do, because that's that the plant doesn't choose what you want. You choose what part of it you love, whether it's the political side or the writing the laws, whether it's doing the media stuff, whether it's standing out there and telling everybody to go fuck themselves like Adam loves to do. That's absolutely part of what a team is. And behind me, if anybody knows, this is the painting. It's actually 6 feet tall that I was given for my 30th birthday. It's me climbing the glass after we won in the cup in '97. Well, every championship and every moment in what the Detroit Red Wing organization and the culture means to me is exactly, I take the crest of the wing off, I put the plant back on, and we're all here together. So we're gonna bridge it, and that's why I look at you guys as you're my life team now, and we got to preach the message and fight on. And yeah, I'm the one that's gonna say, look at these teeth, knock them out. I'm not here to argue. I'm here for the what do you mean by that? Adam, John, all you guys have done the arguing. Now it's time for action, and I'm an action guy and happy to be here.
Thanks,
so I thank all of you. I thank all of you.
So John started up.
Get back.
Right on.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
John, as far as I know, kicked off the idea of like doing getting online with the radio stuff, and he's up to many episodes,
800 plus.
Yeah.
861 this week.
Yeah, and still going. Nice.
And I apologize, I've only caught half of them, but I do because the wisdom is there.
Caught 420.
But the wisdom is there. Exactly. And that's the great thing about it. Because I know Mr. Sinclair hates this digital whatever technology more than I do. I can probably guarantee you that. So, but we're making it work.
I'll tell you this, he actually loves it, and he sits at his MacBook all day long, and he loves the fact he can get all his music on it. It's when the technology doesn't work right that he gets frustrated.
Yeah.
That's
yeah, he always works right. It's the technology when it doesn't come through. Yeah.
That's a saying that technology is awesome until it doesn't work.
That's right.
John, how can people listen to your podcast? Let them know about your Radio Free Show.
Well, it's a radio station called RadioFreeAmsterdam.org. You tune it in and it's on there, and all the shows are there. There's a stream that plays it like a regular radio station. It's very cool. It's what I do for kicks for the last 15 years.
How many different shows are there?
I've got 12 different disc jockeys.
Right.
Wow.
12 top-notch disc jockeys from all over the world.
Nice.
Chicago, New Orleans, Boulder, Colorado. I got this shit.
Are you still writing a column too, John?
Night and day. I don't listen to anything else.
Still writing your column?
Oh yeah, I write my column for the Michigan Marijuana Report every month. I'll go up to start tomorrow if he sends me my money.
I'm still waiting on that Trump bucks myself.
Well, we have
So you're waiting on Ben bucks. Yeah, you're waiting on Ben bucks. We're waiting on Trump bucks. Yeah. Anybody get that shit, by the way? Anybody get that?
I got my money.
I did not.
My
not
Trump
yet.
money. I got so I'm on Social Security disability, and I filed jointly with my wife, and it's deposited in our bank account.
Direct deposit from last year.
I got.
You had to ask for it?
I got $3,400 deposited a week ago. I didn't do shit.
See, I'm the same thing. I mean, I'm filed with my husband. I'm on Social Security. We file every year. We didn't get nothing yet.
It's coming.
I know. I'll get it. I ain't worried about it.
Well,
this is a smooth running government. It's coming for sure.
I want that check that says that he signed, you know, for my.
I wish I could get one of those. I was bummed when it was in my account and I didn't get one with an autograph on it.
I don't know. I might get one because they didn't direct deposit mine yet. But I want that money.
It's coming. That's all right. You'll get your money, and then on your next taxes, you can report it as income.
Oh, great.
Well, John, I know you said you had an event coming up that you're going to have to go for. Is there any words of wisdom you'd like to leave the cannabis community on this 420 holiday, our venerated leader?
to have a joint.
Here we go.
Done.
Here we go.
Done.
Smoke two.
I smoked 2 joints before I talked to John Sinclair, and then I smoked 2 joints more.
Hey, it's really
Keeping one
awesome to have
burning
you
the
guys
whole
on
time.
here. We have the twofer there. Nice
Pleasure
to
to be
have you.
on your show at all times.
Appreciate
Oh,
it.
man.
I love
No,
the technology. I wish we'd have had it years
Yeah,
ago.
I wish we
Yeah.
would too, man.
It's been hanging out for a while, but
I-
you know, this
I just-
issue kind of forced
Speaking
using
They're
it a lot more.
killing it though.
Speaking of the smoke two joints, I just found photographs of when I had the toys out for Hash Bash, and we did a party at my grow shop in Ann Arbor behind the Soji screens I had, and I had the toys do a private show. Got pictures of Renee Emery and all kinds of people.
Wow.
Yeah, I just found a whole stack of photos. So it's funny that we mentioned the smoke two joints because they wrote it.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Toys, toys.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Wow.
Oh, you guys
And
hang
I-
out for as long
Appreciate you guys.
as you like. But go ahead, Dan. I'm
Happy
sorry.
420, many happy returns.
John,
See you, man.
420, John.
Love
Thank
you,
you,
John.
sir.
Love you
See
so
you
much. Brother.
soon.
love
Thank
you.
you
I'll
guys
talk
so
to you
much.
soon.
Adam.
Thank
We'll
you.
be in
Paul.
touch soon. And there's the John Sinclair Foundation, which some of the proceeds of the digital hash bash will go toward, and we'll have other causes down the road to try to utilize as the basis for raising money for that foundation too. That's a good
Hey,
cause.
Hey, Berg, did you want to have anything to say to Mr. Sinclair while you guys are both on the show together, big man? Berg, you're
Turn
on
your
mute,
mic
bud.
on.
Hey, Bert,
Ah, Bert, come
Everybody-
on.
Veteran podcaster, you're on mute, bro.
Don't wake
Yeah.
them up.
Sorry, I'm late, everybody.
It's Jamie's
Bert,
fault.
I got you.
You're right on time, baby.
Oh, Canada boys.
Yeah,
That's
so
why he's late, of course.
they had to get me a Cannaboy package. Big shout out to Cannaboys. We're gonna be live tonight on YouTube if anybody wants to tune in, and if you got Zoom, you can join in as well. D-Mac is gonna be joining us tonight. C Murder, aka
Amen.
Colin MacDougall, is gonna be in the
Yeah. You get the nighttime version of these people, man. We're seeing
Yeah.
like the mild daytime here. Just having some
Oh,
fun.
yeah.
But wait till you see the nighttime version of these guys.
Colin
Should
with
have
some
it.
black eyeliner, very vamp, kind of gothish. Sure, I see that.
No, I think it's a light. I don't know.
Go back to look at him again.
Colin's actually really tan in real life.
Oh, I see. Darren, what do you got there, big guy? That's an elaborate piece of artwork.
Well, you know what? I'm saving this for Berg tonight. And this is the great thing about, you're talking about connections and travel. If you can see this, it's got a turtle on it. So anybody who has, I was given to this by somebody who, and that's the appreciation that was in the actually memorabilia business, but I did a show and they bought me this turtle rig. And if you see, I don't know if you can see inside it, but there's a turtle. And when you dab it, the turtle bops up and down and it's fluorescent.
I see
So
it.
I'm going to do that. So tune in tonight to Medical Mondays with Berg, because as Jamie said, I will be at least 1,000 milligrams edible into it, and you'll get the nighttime vampire crap. It is awesome.
Gonna get dirty, Darren. Yeah.
It's a good, and I don't stay up late. You know that, Deb.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is big.
But at least
But
you're
this is
you're
big.
at home too. The danger of falling asleep is real.
Nice to meet you, Darren. I've never met you. I'm Shelly.
Well, Shelly, until this is done, it's nice to virtually meet you too.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Darren, you're my
I'm in
hero.
the.
I love you.
I'm in the Westworld.
Wow. All right, that was suggestive.
Look into it. I don't know if I understand what you're saying.
Just go with it.
Okay.
Celebratory. Little Dionysus. It's okay. Let loose.
And he gets more loopy than that later on in the night. So Berg's show is going to be wild.
Wild.
Oh my God.
That's fantastic. So Berg, we've been talking about favorite 420 memories of all of our guests. What do you got? What's a good 420 memory from you?
Oh man. I mean, really, I was hoping today was going to be the best memory since it's the first 420 on a Monday.
Yeah.
Pretty
But
fun.
this is going on. We're going to have to do the best we can, you know?
That's right.
Yeah.
How about you, Darren? 420 memory?
Well, you know what's sick? Like, you know, you get things in your head and you can't forget them. My 420 memory is knowing that it's always Hitler's birthday, right? So then it's like
That's what
why
John
it's
said.
like-
John brought
then
that
it's
up
why-
earlier.
Yeah, that's just the crazy thing. And I think what the most important thing is, you know, I newer to the whole, you know, in the last really didn't delve in the last 4 or 5 years, dude, every day is 420 to me. Let's get it friggin' straight. You know, it's like Berg, Berg's usually the one that says that it's amateur hour or it's like, you know, St. Patty's Day for the alcoholics.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, like every day is the same.
is.
I think the best part and the thing you miss is being together and now when more people can be together, it's the show of that. So I
That's
just
also
remember
what
the
John said.
gatherings and just
Great
getting high
minds.
as shit.
I have 420
Fair
memory
enough.
with Darren. Actually, 2 years ago at 420, you were at BDT, and that's where I won the spong here.
Oh, right on.
The outdoor party.
You
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah.
I was there.
Connection, bro. I'm telling you.
Also, when Colin was in the hospital, when he was a young kid, you visited him in there as part
Yeah,
of like
I have a picture
Oh,
Goodwill.
that's the best
of you
story
and
ever.
Brett Hall, like at my hospital bed.
Yeah.
And you
What's the
autographed, you
picture?
and Brett Hall autographed it for me. You're just like,
Just a wee
Oh,
lad. Just
yeah.
a wee lad.
I had a kidney
See, I
stone
love
kid. It was like a weird thing to have. And I was in the hospital
Size of
for
a
like
hockey
week.
puck.
And
It was.
and they were like, the Red Wings are coming today. And they're like, do you want to take a picture with them? And I was like, yeah.
That's incredible.
but isn't that wild for all of us? So I call them those aha moments. The aha moments are you're on the right track. And they're there into that awareness. Nice job there, Rick. Nice job.
What?
But, it's
yeah.
those are my favorite stories because they're memories and it's about, you know, because it's all about the people and that's what the plant allows. It's to have those memories. Look at you had the picture, then you won the bong. So stick with me, kid. You and I are connected.
There you go.
Yay. I
Nice.
love that.
Yep. Amazing how circles turn. Darren and I first met in the backstage of a Snoop Dogg concert in the green room.
No
Yes,
more details,
did.
please.
I thought you were going to say in the back seat of a Chevy.
No, I was there with Big Daddies. We brought the Kush.
Yeah,
Let me
I
tell
bet
you,
you
we were
were Big
welcomed
Daddies.
kings when we arrived. So we had a great interview with Snoop. A lot of fun backstage. It was good. Darren groped all of the females we were with. It was awesome. True story. True story.
Other way. I think I got groped. I think I got groped.
Yeah, I'm sure that happened. I'm absolutely 100% sure that happened.
You know,
Wow.
the truth.
It was a different time, Rick. A different time.
That's true. I saw you post that picture, Rick, and I remember that because that's that I met Trick that day too, and I have a picture of Trick with me on my fridge to this day because I remember I saw you just posted it recently, and I was like, damn, that's 10 years ago, dude. And isn't it wild how everything correlates? And so
Royal Oak Music Theater, I think 2011.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So.
Wow.
Yeah, it sounds right.
Yep. So we do have circles that continue to turn. You know, it's not surprising that people who care and who have passion continue to do good deeds over a period of time. There are people that have a flash moment of wanting to help, and for 6 months you hear about them, and then they just sort of fizzle out and go away. It's longevity. A lot of people don't have it. A lot of people can't commit to something for a long period of time.
Jim, nice. Toss you, James.
Just wanted to join the crowd. I got this.
All right.
Right on.
Jim's got the Grateful Dead hockey jersey.
Red Wings are doing this now. They have a commemorative game every year, and they have a Dead cover band play, and they give out these jerseys. It's incredible.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Hey, we're gonna bail out of here. I'm gonna take Rick up on his last comments about longevity and people that can't hang and are flash in the pan. I did my 45 minutes. We're out of here. I appreciate
Adam.
y'all. And,
A lot of decades between you guys, that's for sure. Very much appreciated too.
it happens. We will maybe check you guys out tomorrow on the regular show.
Sounds great, man.
Thanks again.
Thanks a lot, Adam. Thanks a lot, John.
Be safe.
Happy 420.
Nice. You know, it's been a really good broadcast. We've had a lot of fun, great guests, good people to talk to. And we're doing all right, man. It's not even 4 o'clock yet.
I've been trying to keep a joint lit continuously throughout the broadcast. That's kind of my little 420 ritual.
Yep.
I've been trying to do that
I
since
really
2016, Deb.
It's just a good thing to do, generally. Right.
Hey, what is everybody smoking or dabbing right now? What strain?
I'm using the Sharp Cheese, the Stephen Sharp Cheese strain.
Nice.
Yes.
I got a little Death Star going on over here right now.
I recommend everybody give these Twax bars a try. I'm stepping away from the bud. I'm still in on the bud today, but these Twax bars are ass kickers.
Wow.
Similar to Twix.
I have had those in the past for sure. Those are great.
We've had the guy from Twax on the radio show, and if I remember, he brought a couple of samples that we enjoyed, and then ate the hell out of our Taco Tuesday afterwards. So,
Yeah,
Right.
those are good.
Yeah. He said if we were in studio today, he would have contributed to the show. So can't wait for us all to get back together.
Well, yeah,
Cool.
we'll make it back at the.
one of the cool things about Berg's program on Medical Mondays is they do a lot of product reviews. They get things in, different types of cannabis, waxes. Quite expert, Berg and Roach, at evaluating the weed scene.
They tell people how it is, whether they want to hear it or not.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't give bad news too often, do you, Berg?
We probably say a lot of things people don't want to hear, but anyways,
What?
I'm rolling up some sticky buns from Cannabis. They gifted me today. It smells pretty fire. I haven't lit it up yet though.
Nice.
Oh, it's the name of the strain, or is it like sticky buns for real?
Oh, it's the strain sticky buns.
Sounds
It
delicious.
would be really cool if it was like Cinnabon. You know what I mean? Like if Cinnabon had one day a year that they made like super medicated Cinnabons.
Oh, man.
That would be
nice.
amazing.
You know what I'm worried about is the next viral infection is going to be sticky buns, and I don't think that would be cool for the world to experience.
Why
Oh,
Stop it before it happens.
That's disgusting.
Active testing. Active testing.
Sticky buns.
I think the viewership just dropped in half.
Everybody's gonna be like, "Hey,
That was a lame joke.
It was great. Lots of
No,
you
it was
smiled.
not. No.
Ray
Hey,
smiled.
guys.
Razor Ray smiled. That's all that matters.
Time out.
It was funny. It was
There we go. What do you got, Darren?
Somebody's got to know somebody at Little Debbie's. You know,
Say
I mean, I
what?
think that's brilliant for the sticky buns. I
I
think
don't
that's a
wanna
one
be
day a year. They give every day's got a day. Why can't we have medicated sticky bun days sponsored by Little Debbie's or something?
There
I
we
get
go.
it. I'm with you. It's the innovation.
Yep.
Innovation. Anyways, I have a day jar and a night jar. Just because obviously I'm smoking the day jar because I can't stand up. Anyways, or can't shut up. In saying that, I gotta say goodbye because I gotta go do another podcast. But I love you guys. Look forward, keep doing what you're doing, all of you, and I look forward to properly medicating with you all in the future.
Really
Have a
appreciate
good
it,
day.
man.
Happy 420.
see you tonight, man."
See you
Virgo,
on the
see you tonight,
broadcast.
bro.
Bye, Darren.
See you in a few hours, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Darren, of course, gets around a lot as far as different podcasts and things too. But his comedy tour, I'm just really going to highly recommend it. We had just a blast when we went to that comedy tour up north. It was the second or third time I've seen that tour. It never ceases to please. It's a good thing. When the things get up and running again, that slapstick comedy tour should be something everybody wants to visit.
It was like our last big activity before
that was
we
the
went in
last
lockup.
gathering.
The last thing.
Wow.
It was a riot, though.
It was on March 14th.
Yeah. Oh, I know exactly when it was because we came straight home afterwards.
And that was
15th in the
it,
morning. Haven't been out since, basically.
It's been the same thing for me too, except for
tickets, and we ended up not going and joining you guys, man.
Yeah, you guys didn't come.
I was trying to talk Jim and Julie. I was driving back from Grand Rapids. I was going to drive across from Grand Rapids, pick them up, and drive up north, and people just started falling out on me. I'm like, oh shit.
You should have come anyway because it was so much fun and the show was just great. It was hilarious. I mean, really hilarious.
I would have fallen asleep driving. 100% chance.
Yeah, Darren's a funny guy.
You
He's
got
a
to make
smart
sure
guy too.
when this is over. Got to do another slapstick so we can make it up.
Yeah. Well, the comedy tour typically, I mean, my experience has been it's kind of a Southeast Michigan thing. They were brought up north. I think Jamie had something to do with it. In sponsorship of a hockey league for youth up there. But typically, the place he does it should be pretty accessible. We could do a Jazz Cabbage Cafe special social outing after the Corona crisis is done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Invite all of our viewers too. All of our
rent
Facebook
a party bus.
Yep. Hey, we've got a lot of Facebook viewers too.
Hey, so we
Thanks
should be joined now by some new guests in the
all
the show
right.
continues.
Our surprise guest.
What's up, everybody?
Welcome, Joel Zumya, former Detroit Tiger. Welcome to the Jazz Cabbage Cafe
Right
420
on.
broadcast.
Hey, happy 420, everybody.
Thank you, man. Thank you for
Get
joining
this
us.
party started the right way.
And have Darrell
also-
Stavros with us too at some point here. Hopefully he'll tune on in.
Darrell was wearing a mask earlier because I think he's worried about a computer virus, but it
Oh
could
my
be.
God, Rick.
That's crazy.
No,
Just really don't stop
Man,
that, please.
he is at Oz where curbside service is taking place, and he's going to check in there. We're going to see what's going on with them too. And you know, there's many ways for people to get their cannabis right now, even in the midst of this kind of quarantine time. So and that's one of them.
I'm here now.
The fact that cannabis is an essential business and that is services available is pretty good. And of course, many
Jamie,
people
stop
still.
talking. Joel Zumya is here, okay? Just stop talking. Joel, what's up?
What up, everybody?
Sorry, Jamie, but I'm a huge Tiger fan, so dude, I got to hear from Joel.
Hey, Jay.
Wow.
Hey, just here with y'all, just enjoying another day, you know. Inside,
you do-
trying to stay away from all this
Oh my gosh,
bullshit.
right down the street.
Yeah.
And you do these, and you have a regular kind of a podcast that you do too, right? With a cannabis connection. Is that right?
Who's that? Is that me? You're asking
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
No, you know, I do it sometimes. You know, I a lot of people try to have me on and get Joel Zumya's intel on what he does and what my life is about. But it's simple as hell, guys. I smoke weed every day. I enjoy life. You know, I work a simple work job, and you know, I'm enjoying my retirement, guys.
So awesome.
Yay.
Excellent.
Very cool.
Rock, brother. You absolutely rock.
You know, Joel, we've been asking all of our guests that's been on today, do you have a favorite 420 memory? It's kind of our holiday.
You know, I'm out here in San Diego every 420. Usually around this time, we have a reggae festival. You know, I'm a big roots head. I love reggae. Actually, I'm right here. I'm actually listening to vinyls today. I still collect vinyls, y'all.
Oh,
You know, but you know, usually it's a memory for everybody, man. I get with my family. Right now, we can't even hang out with everybody and smoke spliffs and smoke joints and hang out, man. But you know, around this time, I'm watching a live band, dude, getting irie as hell, and I'm with some relatives, my younger brother, and we just, you know, whatever happens, dude. My greatest memory though, it's, you know, meeting all these great fans. I mean, these reggae players, dude. I love meeting these people.
Nice.
I got to meet some great ones.
So, like baseball is not recently has lightened up on cannabis, isn't that right?
They actually have, guys. It's pretty crazy.
Cool.
You know, I was smoking cannabis when it wasn't legal in baseball.
I'm sure.
Wow. Yeah.
And did a lot of the fellow players and fellow athletes that you know realize that cannabis was a benefit for recovery and for not having to use other substances for, you know, pain relief and getting rid of some inflammation and other things that people deal with like that?
You know what, guys? It honestly, yeah. I'm not gonna speak for any other mentioned names, but a lot of us did it, and because you got to think about it, we're out there. You know, we don't get home until 11:30, sometimes midnight. You know, and you know, we're not even tired as hell, man. We're all wired up, Red Bull up, still ready to entertain people, dude. And to get to bed and wake up the next morning to feel 120%, man, and go back and do what we did the next day, man. We got to recover. So a lot of us went to this stuff right here, the medical stuff, and you know, it kind of pulled us through the season.
Yeah, I bet.
Kept us together, you know, kept us it kept our brotherhood real happy and together sometimes, guys.
Oh yeah.
I bet.
I bet.
Sure.
So what are you smoking on today, Joel?
You know, guys, I'm on the West Coast. I'm an ocean grown guy. I love OGs. I'm on that Paris OG right now.
I'm smoking,
you know,
OG myself.
Had a good,
That's sour OG.
Mine's sour OG, but it's you know, it's good.
Yeah, you know, I'm a big OG fan, man.
Me too.
I was born and raised on in the West Coast, so the ocean, I mean, the ocean grown stuff is normal for us out here. So I was brought up on that.
Well, where do you see United States going at this point? I mean, obviously we're on the uphill slope of an industry that's going to spread from state to state. But are we looking at the collapse of some of these big groups of cultivation organizations, or are we looking at such a great expansion? Everybody's going to be okay. What do you think?
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Right now, I'm just indecisive on a lot of things right now, guys. You know, I hope none of these industries, the bigger industries, crash. You know, it's hard on everybody right now. Very, very hard. I think this. I'm gonna be honest. On my point, I think the coronavirus is bullshit. But you know, it is wiping out the world. I have noticed that, but I think it's just something different, man. You know, I really hope that we move forward with the cannabis, you know, and industry and keep on moving forward. I hope like some of these states, I hope Texas is the next one to pass, and some other ones, man, that are very strict. You know, we need to keep on moving this industry forward. And it's I'm telling you, it's this stuff right here. It's a big medication. It's a big medication for a lot of us, man. I'm gonna be honest. On my side, I took a lot of pills playing baseball. You know, Tylenol, Percocets. You know, I've been through 6 major surgeries on my arm, so I took a lot of bullshit, man, and it kind of fucked me up. So you know, this stuff. When I went back to this, guys, you know, it was just I say a gate opener for me. You know, it helped me out. It maintained my health. You know, it kept me going through. You know, it put me through pain. It actually helped me sleep sometimes. You know, so fuck, dude. I don't know what I wouldn't be without medical pot.
What do you have planned for any events coming up? Is there any place we can look for you to be appearing, either on the internet or on television? Any place?
Guys, you know, I'm gonna stay away for a little bit right now. You know, I usually am back in Detroit a handful of times a year, 5 or 6 times a year. But right now I'm just laying low, guys. I don't know, man. I'm gonna stay away for a little bit, but as soon as the gates open up, y'all see my face everywhere.
All right.
That's great. Yeah.
How's everybody else doing, man?
Hey, Joel, are you gonna come?
Doing a whole commercial over here in the corner with Oz.
Yeah, I think Darrell's trying to ask you a question, Joel. What are you saying,
I am,
Darrell?
Joel. Are you gonna come see me, Joel, when you come into town?
Darrell, I always see you, brother. You know, you're my main man, dude. But Darrell, I'm gonna be honest with
This
everybody.
is our new
Darrell,
company.
Darrell takes care of me. Every time I fly into Detroit, you know, I don't have to even give him a phone call, man. I text him, I let him know I'll be in the day. He tells me what time. You know, I have a package waiting in Motor City for me every single time, guys. Darrell's my man. Darrell's family. Yes, sir.
What are we looking at there, Darrell?
He's showing us that Third Coast, Joel, has now been changed over to the name Oz. Same building, just a different name on it. So,
Man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
Darrell,
I'm
turn
still
your
wearing
phone
the
the
Third
other
Coast
way.
shirt.
yeah.
Let me check that out.
Proper mask.
Country I ever went to, and
A proper mask.
everybody else like.
Yeah, we're just getting bigger and bigger as we go here. We've been pretty swamped, guys, running in and out doing curbside service.
That's why you have the mask, curbside service. Berg, you're saying that Third Coast was the first place you ever purchased cannabis legally?
Yes, sir. And Jamie Lowell's the one who helped me out that day.
Jamie was your bud tender.
Circles, right?
Jamie Lowell was one of the best bud tenders here.
Yeah.
He just took an hour with every patient.
I'm sure.
Good, like every
No
other
doubt.
dispensary after
Like
that. Like Third Coast place. I mean, I haven't been there.
You can't really see it right now, but what Darrell's doing is he's serving up patients curbside in Ypsilanti. At what used to be Third Coast is now Oz. So
I can see it. Yeah.
They got their protective gear on. They've got plenty of people rolling in there taking care of people.
Right.
Like a drive.
Yep, we have lines. We got the street covered. We got the parking lot covered. And we got 15 employees here.
Well, this was
tonight, Darrell.
Here's the inside. It's kind of running crazy right now.
Beautiful.
And we're running a big weed maps promotion right now too.
So just to be clear, Darrell, the only people inside your store are employees, and they're running stuff out to the patients because that's what the rules are, right?
Correct. These are all employees you're seeing right now.
Okay. I just don't want any of our viewers to get the wrong impression that they can come into your place. So.
No. Yeah, we even have security outside stopping people so no one can come in. Everybody's helped right at the car.
Wow.
It's like a drive-in. It's like a drive-in diner theater here.
Beautiful.
It's great to have that parking lot.
Well, this is just the benefit of the being extended as an essential service for the cannabis industry and for the Marijuana Regulatory Agency finding a good workaround for the coronavirus situation. This is a kind of all we've got, but it's a system that works, right, Darrell?
That is very correct. It's working very fluently, and the benefit we're having right now with the city being down is normally street parking is permit only, but they're not ticketing anyone, so we're filling the street right now with people too.
Nice.
Joel, we got cars lined up all down the side.
Joel, do you get cannabis delivery in Cali? What are you doing?
You know what, guys? I do. Sometimes I do. We got Ease. It's called Ease. It's our delivery service out here. You know, but right now we have the same thing. We still have cannabis. It's actually crazy. Cannabis shops that are still open. You just have to go in one at a time, and you have to go in with a mask, and you have to wear gloves, guys. Yeah.
Well, different states are trying different programs. Darrell, how's your supply? Are you finding that all of the components of the supply chain are working pretty well under this crisis?
Well, we had a big benefit since we just reopened about a week and a half ago. We still had all of our existing caregiver inventory. So we are fully stocked. We probably have one of the largest inventories in the state of Michigan right now.
Great.
So we are still getting state stuff too. So we got a mix of the state certified stuff. We have a mix of the caregiver inventory that we managed to collect through the last 6 to 8 months.
Are you servicing both recreational and medical patients at Oz now?
Currently, we are just medical. We're hoping once the city opens, we've already passed everything for rec. The city's already approved us for rec. Once the city opens, they sign one form and we could be rec.
Outstanding.
We need that recreational, guys.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
You know, it's unfair in Michigan where we have some communities which are embracing it and some communities which are not. That's the way that we structure the law. It was a good way to structure the law, but it is disadvantaging some communities. And some places are a little bit more advanced than others when it comes to Jesus on the whole cannabis issue. But California, Joel, same thing too, right? I mean, it's difficult to find cannabis in the Inland Empire, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm actually down south. I'm in San Diego area, and you know, it's kind of difficult to actually find a decent product in the market right now.
Really?
Yeah, you know, it's gone. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I've actually gone the last 2 weeks, and it's been kind of difficult to select some stuff. You know,
Don't you know some private growers? I mean, you know.
that's where I've been going.
That's what you got to do. That's where you get the best smoke anyway.
Absolutely. I've been going to my private growers and friends, you know, that do it personally, man, and never disappoint me. You know, I know what I'm getting, and I've you know, we're all family, so I kind of know what to expect.
Exactly. That's how it is here in Michigan too. So, but I mean, there's both. But you know, in a time of need.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm telling you, it was pretty tough to select some stuff the last 2 weeks. I actually came across some stuff last night, was pretty decent. That's where I went with the Paris OG.
You know, really, we're very fortunate, Michigan, California, having a lot of options. There are other states that don't even have medical dispensaries that, you know, really people relied on that guy in the hood, man, the guy in the neighborhood. Oftentimes it's our best friend, the guy we would watch the Super Bowl with, the guy we would hang out on a Saturday night with. That's the guy we score from. And if you can't have those relationships, it might be difficult to make that happen.
I hear you on that one.
Back a little bit. I couldn't hear for a little bit, but you know, in Ypsilanti, the city was working on it. It was in process, and we had Annie Somerville on city council on the show recently, talking about they were getting very close, and then it's all, you know, being slowed down and put on the back burner right now because of all the stuff going on with the virus and stuff like that. So it's on its way. And,
all right.
Well, it's 7 minutes or 6 minutes to 4:20, so we have to make sure that we are all prepared. Everybody getting their stuff ready?
Oh, like somebody's not prepared. Who's not prepared?
Me.
Better change our behavior, right?
Come on.
I can't be prepared because I can't
I already
smoke at a licensed
got my
facility.
shotgun loaded, boys
Oh
and
no,
girls.
Darrell.
Poor
no.
Darrell. Darrell has to watch. He cannot smoke because he's on duty at a licensed facility. So
You're out on the
That is very
sidewalk.
true.
Just take a little ticket.
You know what?
Don't do
I
it.
can walk down the street.
That's what I'm saying. Walk down the street. Go on.
Yeah,
It's
Jamie's
no
trying to
problem,
shame
Darrell.
you.
I know a couple of attorneys. Just take a walk.
Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna walk down.
And we do have pre-rolls here for a penny with any purchase.
Wow.
Darrell, I'm coming to see you.
And we do. What's that?
Darrell, I'm coming to see
I've seen
you.
the inside of there since a lot of stuff has been done. It looks really nice.
Oh yeah. We got all the different cartridges you need.
That's pretty dope, Darrell. Good for you, man.
Yeah. And we still got Kevin here working too.
What's up, Kevin?
Kevin Grace.
Everybody says hi. Yep, that's Kevin Grace, yeah.
I love it. Everybody's cheating.
Oh. But yeah, we're gonna be smoking in a couple minutes. Other than us, everybody but the guys here.
Take a small walk.
Take a small walk.
Small walk, Darrell. Just a small one.
Take one of our penny pre-rolls.
All right.
I'll take one of our penny pre-rolls.
Yeah,
Or
you don't have to
I
be
can
gone
vape
for long.
cartridge.
You can go in rotation. You know, not everybody at the same second.
That's true.
It's a holiday, dude.
Like these are all of our call-in orders, so people can call in, phone in, and we get your orders all ready. And then they just pull up and they can get it right away.
Just toss it in their trunk.
Yep. And we have goodie bags that we're giving away.
I'll take an order onto the West Coast, bud.
Yeah. All right.
Pony
You want one of these
Express.
goodie bags too, Joel?
Absolutely, please. I'll take
Amy,
I'll
add,
take a few of them,
I'll
Darrell.
make sure it's saved on this one.
I have a
Sweet.
couple of those things.
Amy, add me back in. Add me back in on my phone.
Shelly just rejoined us.
Where did she go?
I don't know.
You don't know. She went for a small walk.
It says Shelly driving.
Shelly's driving again?
It
Shelly,
says
where
it
are
on
you
her-
driving
on her-
now? She says
Darrell,
gas is
delivery's still
$1.19.
kinda
Fuck it,
getting
I'm
up.
driving.
Daryl's delivery still kind of getting under.
We do have deliveries going right now, so it hasn't picked up that much, but we got one driver. We still need a couple more probably. Yeah, we've been doing some local driving today.
Shelly's
It's
got
just
the
taking at least, it's because of how slammed we are right now, it's taking at least an hour and a half or so to get something
That's
delivered.
not bad, though. That's not bad.
Some places only do it a couple days a week, or limited basis, no cash, and all types of conditions.
Yeah, eventually we'll be full on blown deliveries. So just give us time once we iron out some cracks here, and we'll get things cleared away.
Hey, Darrell, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
How are people feeling on? Are they having a chance to see the product before they purchase it, or?
Good question.
They're not. So right now, because it's curbside, we're bringing menus out to them. We have iPads which show pictures of them. But you're not getting that smell effect until we open up the inside.
Okay.
Once we open up the inside,
how are people's
I
thoughts
mean, like we
right
have-
now and feelings on it?
Open up your
the people are so happy right now that they're getting flour and other stuff. They're not even caring at this point. And I mean, we got specials going at $80 for an ounce. So if you're paying $80 for an ounce, you're not going to expect it to be the best, but
Yeah, that's true. You know what you're getting. You know what you're getting in the price.
Blunt weed.
Yeah.
Over 3 minutes away.
Jamie, what'd you say? Are you giving us a countdown here, brother?
Countdown. Is there a ball that's going to drop? Ray, is your ball dropping or something?
Prepare to do something unusual and smoke some cannabis.
Speak for yourself, girl.
This is 420 on 420 on the month of 420 and that kind of stuff. This is very unique for that matter. We should bask that in a little bit when the time comes here in a few moments.
It is important to recognize, this is one of those seminal years, but more importantly, this is a time during an important 420 because this is the time America stood still. This is a moment in time where there's nothing going on. Industry is halted, society is halted to a great degree, and yet we're still able to persevere. We're so connected that we just cannot let this this opportunity go by.
We cannot let it go by. We're so high, we cannot let it go by.
Yep, and it's not just us. I know we talk about because we're on Jazz Cabbage, but if you look at the internet, there's so many different things going on 420 all across the state. California, Denver, there's just places all over the place doing stuff. Big name stars too. So everybody's celebrating in their own way, and I'm awfully glad all of our Facebook viewers and all of our people watching these replays are able to enjoy this with us. Thank you.
It's almost 420. What are we gonna do? Some type of sing-along countdown?
We need a countdown. Somebody's got to do the 10, 9, 8, baby.
Where's Jamie?
He's there.
I'm right here. Daryl's got the sets, or Darren's gonna have to. Sorry, damn it.
Darren. Wait a minute. Adam's back.
Adam's back.
Adam's back.
Adam, count down with us for 420.
I'm back.
Who's going to do the countdown? Is it going to be Gauci? Is it going to be Lowell? Who?
It's got to be Gauci. I have no way of breaking things down in seconds.
He's off screen. Or is he
Right
back?
there.
Oh, he's back. All right.
Yeah,
All right, Derek.
There's a different camera. I can't. I gotta watch where I do things in the house. Got the chillin'.
Oh, I see.
All right. So, Derek, you're going to lead us, and everybody's going to go off mute. We're all going to go 10-9-8 together, right?
Yeah, we'll do that.
What's the time?
It is 4:19 now. We've got 30 seconds.
All right.
I'll get us going. I'll start with the big 10, and then we'll all get going after that.
You bet.
All right.
Spark my bowl.
This is based upon the official Gauci clock.
No, if Joel's out on the West Coast, though, his
It's all right. I'll do it double time, baby.
Okay.
Hey, Joel, how you
Wait
doing,
for
brother?
yours, too.
Happy
What's
420.
up? What's up, baby?
All right, guys. Are you guys ready?
We
Yeah,
are ready.
We're always ready.
I'm
Come
just
on.
so happy to be
getting
bringing it
ready.
with you guys.
Ready.
I don't
All
know
right.
what ready means to
And
Ray,
the
though.
countdown begins in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 420.
On 420 and 420.
World did not explode.
Come on, everybody.
Everybody.
I'm gonna burn the house down on 420. I'm setting the carpet on fire. Woo! Shelly, where are you? What are you doing? Do I hear?
Can you
guess? Can you guess where you're at?
Shelly's out getting arrested on the street. Look at her.
420 on 420. Shelly.
That's a bad
Here, I
420
can put her in the
memory.
background
Don't
with
get
the odd
arrested.
cannabis sign. There you go.
Gang signs and
Open up a wormhole, Shelly. Don't do that.
Okay. Wow.
Nice.
Everybody be burning.
Daryl, you get it out?
That was crazy, girl.
It's really
I'm
quiet.
so sticky, bro.
Do you guys understand that I'm here with Daryl now?
Oh,
You gotta remember that 6 feet, Shelly.
Yeah, what's going on? 6 feet, girl.
it's Daryl. Give him 8.
Whoa.
Well, Shelly is there. Is she going to relieve Daryl so he can leave and go and take a short walk?
Hey, we can get together. We just can't separate for 2 weeks. Don't you have to like quarantine for 14 days?
14 days if you, that's right. So you got to move in
Right.
with John
So
now. That's
we
right.
can hook up. That's not a problem, but it better be worth 14 days being together.
Exactly. In other words, bring groceries, right?
Bring groceries, toilet paper.
I swear, Adam, I need one of those trains, baby.
Yeah.
Every time I see those chains around you, boss, I was like, damn, I gotta get one of those.
Yeah, these are my chains of bondage, like Mr. T used to say.
I love them, man. I need to get like a tiger orange and the tiger blue. That'd be sick.
Oh, yeah.
I got a guy that'll make it for you. Not a problem.
That'll be badass, brother.
Yeah, man. I appreciate
Wow.
that.
What a great celebration.
might
Thanks,
want one
everybody,
too.
for smoking together on our holiday. Good time.
Closer, guys.
Now, our
my
scheduled
God.
time to finish was 4:30, and that's just about 5 minutes from now. Jamie, what do you want to do about the end of the show, bro?
Continue to kind of smoke and just appreciate that we celebrate the 420 together. We could.
Kind of lazily slacking
Jamie,
around.
always
Okay,
so well
good.
spoken.
Yeah, let's go.
There you go. That's,
Lazily smoke.
Eventually,
That's my
Shelly's order.
entire
So-
day. Sure.
so, yeah, we just celebrated. This is going to sound weird, but we just celebrated Passover. And one of the questions they asked at Passover is, why is this night any different than any other night? And they say it in Hebrew. And if you were to say to any Jew, Manish Tanah, Halayla Hazeh, they chuckle when you said, yeah, we were going to sit around and smoke weed all day.
It's the 4 questions.
That's what we do, is
Yeah,
we sit
that's-
around and
yeah.
smoke. If you tell us today's a good day to sit around and smoke weed, we're going to make sure we do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's real basic human nature, if you ask me.
I
But
get
I
most of
appreciate you guys putting this thing together.
that. Yeah, man. Thanks for being on, Ed. I appreciate that.
Well,
and
I
being
saw
with
my man Zoom on, and
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? Hey, Zoom, I'm about to set up a big thing like this. We're going to start doing multiple platforms on my thing. So
you already know, Adam. I'll be there for you any day, baby.
I know. I'm happy you came in on this one, bro. I tried to get John Sally, but he's busy all day. And of course, I didn't ask till last night, but in the future, he'll come anytime I ask.
Well, we've got a great trove of people to talk to about cannabis and cannabis industry things and cannabis culture things. These types of broadcasts really they're not that difficult to do. And it's an amazing experience for the people participating and for the viewers. So, I mean, I'm ready to see this, take off much larger, as long as, we're all wearing pants. We're all.
Hey,
who cares if you're wearing pants or not?
Listen, nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Matter of fact,
as long as you're not moving, as long as I don't care what's going on below.
I think Berg said no deal. I think Berg was like, no pants, no.
Today I had an emergency and I had to get up and my show, my Dab and Stab show had started, and it was a no pants production. And I actually, for the first time ever, flipped my camera around so it was facing the wall and you couldn't see nothing. And I got up, went and did what I had to do and came back. And the reason I don't wear pants is because it forces me to have everything I need before I hit the go button. But
what was
it's
that,
only
Berg?
the morning show that's a no pants production, unless I never put them on.
I want to know.
Hey, listen up, guys. Listen up. I'm gonna tune off. I'm gonna bounce out, guys. Everybody, I want to appreciate. I want to say I appreciate you guys having me on here. Happy 420 to everybody. Hey, everybody in Detroit, y'all know it's my second home. One love to every one of you guys. You all my family. I appreciate all my fans and everybody out there. Y'all stay irie. Y'all stay high. Stay safe. Y'all stay away from this fucking COVID-19 bullshit, whatever it is. One love from the Zoom side. I got to tune out, guys. Thank you.
Take care, Zoom.
Take care.
Hey, when this clears up, we got Fishing with the Zoom in Detroit. You guys
all day, every day, baby.
Hey, and
We
with
got
that,
it coming.
we're joined for our last few moments here with attorney Michael Camorra. Of course, not only is a great attorney, does a lot of stuff in the arena of cannabis with defending people.
There he is.
Also host of the Planet Green Street show.
Welcome, Michael.
Hey, how you doing? Having a good day?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Thanks for having me. How's the show going so far?
Oh my God, I'm freaking out. Joel Zumya. I'm fangirling all over the place. That was
Really?
pretty cool. I'm a huge Tiger fan. I'm used to Darren. Sorry, Darren, but I'm just used to Darren.
Hey,
so yeah,
I'm
Joel
fangirl over
Debbie.
Darren right now, dude.
I know,
Debra,
but still,
can you
I'm
make
used to Darren.
Deborah? Can you make tacos?
Yes.
All right, I'll bring him over next time he's in town.
Sweet. I will owe you, Adam.
No. You don't owe me nothing. You just got to feed him.
Okay, I got it.
Michael, thanks.
Gerald just hooked me up. Gerald gave me a whole big grab bag full of stuff.
Whoa, what's in it? Let's see.
Okay, let me show you.
There'd be a grinder and a lighter, right?
No. It's
whoa, it's huge.
Bag.
Wow, cool.
Dude, let's
and
see.
then there's a rolling tray and some stickers. Look at this.
Coloring book.
See how fun it is? Really cute rolling tray. Lotion.
Don't lose the free roll.
Jamie wants to know, is there any hemp cock in there? Michael wants to know, is there any hemp cock in there?
What the hell are you talking about?
Michael
I feel
knows.
like somebody's talking with me.
No, it's a kind of lotion and hair grease, right, Michael?
It is. That sounds about right.
It is. See, it's
I don't know. Oh, this
It
is a
is.
pretty cool lighter.
It's not licensed, but
I
it
got
still
one of
could be
those
in the
ones.
bag.
Yeah. A couple of pre-rolls. Good stuff. Nice.
All right, so
what a score.
just as a reminder, tonight on the Medical Mondays page, the Medical Mondays show, and some of us will be on there with Darren McCarty and others, and we're going to go explain some things that are going on. And then on Thursday night, or tomorrow, we're having our regular show, 4 to 6, and Jazz Cabbage, and then on Thursday night, 8 to 10, Planet Green Trees. And
Full
with that,
week.
if anybody else would like to let anybody else know about anything or fill us in or say goodbye, now's the time because we are winding down. And it was a great time. I really appreciate it, everybody. Thank you guys very much.
Team effort, everybody. Good broadcast. Thank you.
Bye.
Appreciate you guys.
Happy 420.
Great to see you. Happy 420.
Yep, happy 420.
I'll see you tonight, C-Murder.
You guys, y'all be good.
The murder.
The murder.
Shout out to C-Murder.
Man, I like some gangster shit in this. I like that.
Medical Mondays.
Hey,
Medical Monday at 9 o'clock.
Yep. All right, y'all. Thanks a lot.
Y'all be well.
Love.
I gotta
Thank you.
figure out how to make sure this goes away. There we go. Lead meeting. Y'all be well.
See you, Adam.
Joel Zamaya's coming.